Hello, welcome to our third conversation for the month of July. This is Brainstorming FND Wisdom, and we have three of my most disciplined students. Why? Because they learn neuroscience and they immediately put it into practice, and they teach their families and they teach their friends. And I'm also a disciplined person, so we're gonna be sharing more good stuff today. And let's see. How do we get started today? Does anyone feel like, I think Chante has not introduced herself for this series. But Jess and Michelle you have already introduced yourself a little bit. So I don't know if you want to say something new about yourself, Jess and Michelle, that you did not mention the previous conversations, something different, interesting. And Chante, we haven't heard from you in weeks. So I am Dr. Velazquez. This is Science and Shamanism. We have 5 branches. I said this the other day. Let me see if I remember. Experiential education, which is research, which is the research branch of awakening, and experiential education is a way of living, is when you learn neuroscience and you practice it and experience it in your body, and then it becomes part of who you are, and then you can teach it to the world. And then we also have research, as I said. We're building community. We are developing a spiritual movement around the philosophy of nature and natural substances. And what else? I'm forgetting one, but it's okay. Who's next? Social activism, medical, social, legal activism. And we're looking into disability, the disability industry, right, with collaboration and growth, especially like, okay, for how many years disability should cover us and how much they should cover us, and do we stay in this place forever? Do we reintegrate to society, and in what capacity do we reintegrate to society, and how the government supports us, and how do we realize and find our mission and our dreams after getting out of FND? Everything looks so different. That's the 5th branch. But it's about you now. Any new introductions, different pieces of information about yourself? What is exciting you? What are your dreams? What are you working on? How's your family? How's the job of spreading FND awareness, of sharing your needs? How is your relationship with the doctors lately, with the healthcare system, with insurance companies? How about August? Are we getting together in Colorado in August? How about September? Can take go right ahead.
Well, been a little sparse, but family is definitely a harsh balance. And where we go to advocate for everybody else, sometimes we have to advocate for them too. So we've had a lot of medical advocating going on for my dad in an epilepsy journey, which brings me to this point. I don't know about other states. We've had some struggles. Everybody in mental health is always like, oh, it's very hard to get, your relative family and all this into mental health or whatever. But what happens when they get trapped in mental health over a physical condition? That we just recently experienced and was like really hard to explain without seeming like you're in denial. My dad had an epileptic episode that they took as psychiatric and put him away for a week in a behavioral health when really they just needed to regulate his epilepsy medication. So we've been, jumping up and down, and that was Then that brings me to the disability. I think depending on what you have going on, disability wise, depends on how things work. And, a lot of it is the government. You're either disabled or you're not. Can you work a few hours? Sure. But what do you do about the variables? Things aren't just yes and no. And the government doesn't like yes and no or anything other than straight yes and no answers. So I know here for Delaware, because I am on disability, the 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 person they send you to is a physician, sure, but he's also a lawyer. So his lawyer brain kicks in and only wants yes or no answers, and you can't always give them. Maybe today, yeah, maybe tomorrow, no. So it puts you in a position, and that's where I'm struggling now because I do have other autoimmune disorders that also affect me. It makes it a hard balance for the physicians to go off of. Can you work a couple hours? Yeah. But you risk losing your disability because what if that's not a consistent, linear progression?
Yes, Shante, thank you so much. You have brought up so many important points, and look how everything is related. Mind-body connection happens both ways. Functional illnesses that happens in the mind, in the nervous system, all the networks and affects the body. And then you also have diseases like epilepsy that manifests. It's a structural disease. Epilepsy, right, is from a structural problem, usually, especially when it happens with aging, the brain starts changing the structure of the brain with aging. So epilepsy happens, and then it also affects mental health. So you have from structure to energy, from energetic to structure, so from mind to the body, to the structure of the body, from the structure of the brain to the body. It's all directions. So mind-body connection, structure, energy connection, it's important to know this. We want to
And I
stay
think the
healthy and help our
education.
families.
Well, and I think the education too, because that makes it scary. If they'll do this to an epileptic person, God forbid you have a seizure due to FND, and know that, there's the potential to get, Baker's acted off of something that is not necessarily a behavioral health crisis.
Yeah.
They just that shows that the government and the state and the powers that be in the medical, it took them a week to be like, oh, it's just epilepsy for him. We're sorry. We'll let him out. That's
Yes.
scary.
Yes. So emotions is scary, and how emotions plays out with the political system, with the way society is structured. Everything is related. And then what you said, Chante, is not black and white. In reality, our lives are not yes or no. It's the
Mhm.
biggest portion is the gray zone and the variables and the mix, a little bit over here, a little bit over here. So it is so important to notice all these different shades of reality, right? That we have to deal with. Mm-hmm. Michelle, how are you doing over there? You're,
I'm okay. I just got like a real blast of dizziness.
yeah, yeah. I saw you. You
Yeah.
want to take a couple deep breaths and sing to the share, and you want to tell us a little bit more about very slowly, gentle, just about what you're noticing.
Yeah. I feel my head just got flooded all of a sudden. Just that real heavy, weird feeling. Um, yeah.
Yeah, we were talking a lot of things, a lot of big things, big words. Let's slow it down a little bit. Yeah. Yeah. Some more deep breaths. Yeah. Maybe it's a good opportunity to teach people about tracking. Huh? Like a moment ago, you were in a way. How about now, Michelle, as you track your experience? How are you noticing now? How are things different now? What are you noticing?
I'm I feel like it's just all in my head at the moment. The feeling that I have, like my head wants to go like this. It's just heavy on one side, and I'm thinking about just everything that we're talking about, and so I think that's just affecting me. You know, thinking about the medical field and not being heard or being misunderstood or misdiagnosed. So, yeah, I just feel like I'm sort of feeling into that.
Thank you, Michelle. That's so meaningful. You
Yeah.
notice your experience, you described it, and it's so meaningful for all of us. How the world truly influences us and how we wish the influence could be positive. Doctors, family, and politicians really like understanding, really. And it's not that hard
Mm.
how we function because we all function the same. It's the same functioning for everyone, the same physical tools.
Yeah.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
What else? A third, this is like tracking step by step. Give us a third. And now maybe the wisdom piece, maybe the emotional piece, maybe a physical piece. If you want. If not, that's okay too.
Yeah, when you were talking, I was just thinking about how having conversations, if it brings up something from your history or your life, you know, it might affect you in that moment. And the tendency has always been to make it right and be okay right away. And so not to not talk about it. And in that process of doing that and just kind of trying to hide it or bury it, it just waits for another time to come out. And so I feel like that happens to, like you say, it happens to everyone. We all have emotions and we feel them in our body, but we don't talk about that. So I feel like if we did, it would just be easier, you know, or if you just need to be quiet all of a sudden for a minute, it's no big deal, you know, just gotta sit with this for a moment. Yeah, I feel like it's important to do what we're doing because of that, to have these kind of conversations
Yes.
and to make it more out in public. Like you said, like what you were talking about religion and like Buddhism being more prominent. I don't, like the word isn't used necessarily, but mindfulness is everywhere. Like when I was teaching in public school during COVID, even they had a company that they hired and they would offer us mindfulness training and how to do meditation in the classroom with your kids. And so I feel like it's out there. There's people out there listening to this stuff, and it can be more widespread. Just how do you go about that exactly? So
Yeah. Yeah. That was the wisdom piece. You see, Michelle, how quickly how you become a teacher. You're just being honest that
mm,
you're a teacher. You're like, well, Yadira, the topic is big. My head felt heavy. I'm gonna take a moment, right? Like I said, okay, let's slow down. It was my fault. I was bringing the information, me and Shante. So I'm like, so we slow down. We slow down. Take a moment. Our organisms are demanding attention. And then that's what we do. We give it attention and then we go into the wisdom piece and we get out of the discomfort or the symptom or um, I don't know, how would you describe it, Michelle, what you felt for a moment? Or maybe it was a little confusing, or maybe it was the heaviness, right? The discomfort. We can get out of it, right?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
pay attention and slow down. Okay, body. Okay, mind, I'm listening. Everyone slow down. I have a message. I have a functional message. And then that's it. You provide us your wisdom. That's the only thing the nervous system wants because it's evolutionary. Functional symptoms have an evolutionary purpose. That's one of my theories. So what you taught us, Michelle, so importantly, what you reminded us is slow down, speak up, let us talk, let us be real, let us be mindful of the realities that we're facing together. Then the breath is so important, right? What a medicine, our breaths. Thank you so much. Thank you. We'll figure it out. We're doing it. Okay. Yes, anything resonating with you over there that you would like to add, or I can say
The
something?
only thing that really came up with all of that is like I just avoid doctors. I don't go anymore. So I just like, nope. Um, I don't trust them. So I will avoid unless I really have to go. Like if I know I'm like sick and need antibiotics or something, like that's one thing. But like I don't go for anything for my FND. I won't talk about my FND normally because they're just like, well, we don't know what to do for you. Um, so yeah, I just don't go. It just like I'll figure it out and I will settle myself and I'll do my own thing because the doctors don't know what to do and I'm not gonna be put on a bunch of medications that don't help. So, and I've learned that the hard way with all the medications I was on before going to see you was like when I got off of them all, I realized how numb I was when I got home and that I wasn't feeling what I should be feeling to be able to fix this. You can tell my voice is shaking because this always gives me anxiety. But yeah.
Emotions, it's normal. It's normal,
Hmm.
Jess. It's
I know.
hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You kind of get this diagnosis and just get thrown out there. Like, good luck. Had I not found you, I don't know where I would be.
Hmm.
So it's one of those things where it's like the doctors don't understand it, and then they just throw pills at you and like, here, numb yourself and don't live your life. And that's how it felt for 2 years. Sorry, I didn't realize this was all gonna come up out. Whew.
It's okay. Remember, someone taught me a couple days ago, we do not voluntarily produce our experience, our emotions, our thoughts. It's not you voluntarily, right? It's a spiritual. It's evolutionary. It's bigger than us, and we just have to surf it like a supermodel, like a rock star, like a Buddha, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I mean, it's just so sad and so outrageous at the same time. It's like you're the doctors, like the heck? And the amount of money they make is like, well, I was making You know, that was my own crisis. I had a spiritual crisis. And there was this voice telling me, you're a fake doctor, you're taking advantage of people, you're making all this money and you're not helping them. Like, are you gonna keep on going like this? It took over me. It's so magical, right? Because then, okay, we just go with it, right? We hold on to moral values, certain values, right? We hold on to our goodness. We hold on to the good stuff inside our hearts, and then we put it out and share with the world, and we're real. And things will organize themselves. We find one another. We come up with ways of learning and practicing in community. Thank you, Jess. What else do you feel that you want to share? Yes, how's your energy? How are your emotions? Do you feel that you have put it out, or is there more there that you would like to?
I think I'm just kind of processing. So just kind of like, okay, like that was a little bit heavier than I thought it was.
Yeah. You know, the other day I said this, okay, let's get creative, let's have fun, let's be bold. It's only one life. This is our playground. Let us do whatever. So yeah, remember the romantic movies, right? Uh, uh, there are movies that make you cry. That stuff sells. It catches people's attention. It moves. Hollywood has moved and changed society, right? All these movies and all these images. So we can get together and like cry it out and say it. We can get together, call for action the community and say we're gonna do a video where we're going to put out all our emotions and we're gonna cry and we're gonna show our anger and but you know what may happen? That day you show up and then the emotions are hiding. Because right, like sometimes we have no, we never have control. So then we may show up for the conversation and then the emotions are like, not today, we're on vacation. And then we're like there, okay. Right? That's why actors and actresses, that's why it's a profession, like they have to learn to get to that place.
That that really makes me think, like, if we just shared our emotions normally, like there wouldn't be a reason for them to have those jobs. Because for me too, like if I go to a funeral or if something sad happens, it gives me permission to cry, even if that's not what I'm crying about the whole time. It's still, to me, my cognitive mind is like, well, you do have a reason to cry in front of these people now, so you can do it, and I always find that very interesting when I notice it. Like I need to give myself permission for some kind of a societal rule that I think is there about what emotion I'm allowed to show. So yeah, that's interesting to think about.
Yes. I'm gonna do something because I do have emotions. Like when yes, they come up here in class. When you were showing your hurt from the medical system, like my eyes got a little bit wet and I was feeling them. Um, I do have my moments alone where I cry. I cry. And sometimes I record them. I'm going to post a couple of those just to set up example that yes, we do have our moments and we don't need permission. We can do whatever we want. It's my emotion, it's my feeling, and I do with it whatever I want. What's up? Right? Um, it's interesting. It's the societal aspect. It must be I don't know if it's only the societal aspect or if it's something ingrained in our genetic system. Maybe we can
Some of it's
decide,
familial.
yeah, maybe we can feel it together and decide. Crying in front of other people, yes, society is like, oh, what's happening? Don't cry. Like, what are you doing? Or it's a big deal. But I wonder, because I thought, for example, in front of my parents or in front of close friends or in front of my partner, like, okay, I should be able to cry because in front of those people, I do whatever I want. I feel comfortable. But I still hold myself back. And I wonder if there is something genetically ingrained that says, well, if you cry, you look kind of a defense. If you cry, you look weaker, and then people,
Mhm.
right? Like, we're animals. So animals always have this kind of competition who is stronger. And there are so many instinctual things going on in the subconscious that we don't understand that well. So I wonder if there is also something from our animal sides that hold us back in addition to society. I wonder how this resonates with you. What is your wisdom, your felt sense telling you? Is it only society or Shante?
So I think genetically, sure, familial, absolutely, generational, absolutely, right? Because generationally, you think about like my grandmother's 81, so World War II era. Here, you're weak, suck it up. What are you doing? You don't have time to cry. You know what I mean? You have to live, you have to survive, right? And sometimes, even though those times are over, their brain is still so ingrained in that emotional, don't be weak, handle your business, still gets passed down regardless, you know. I know for us, like, I'm not saying you can't cry, but in our family, most of the time you're crying because you're so pissed off that you're trying not to rage. It's not necessarily about sadness. It's more a rage thing for my family. And I think for it's taken longer for certain like my great grandmom was very soft. So I think that she taught love, but not everybody got that. You had to be close to that dynamic to receive that, as to where, my other grandmom is just, a rager.
Yeah.
So it's
Mm.
it's hard. You gotta and teaching yourself to be soft is very hard, especially when you've worked mainly on fortifying boundaries, because then it's like, where's the balance? Like, if anything, like, you make sure you hug your kids, you make sure you talk about feelings with them to be soft and teach them something else, but it's still conflicting in your own head because it's like it's still a weird position to be in. It's awkward. It feels awkward.
Any other opinions? Is it just society? Is it also genetically? Anyone else wants to comment on this?
So I was gonna say, like, especially if you're like super sensitive, it's shown a lot of people will be like, suck it up. You just need to deal. That was like the family motto in my family. So it's like emotions weren't to be shown. You were supposed to obey, be seen, not heard. Um, so I think, and then it goes back generations in my family. And so too, so I think it's a mixture of generation. I think it's also women have had to toughen up. I mean, we don't get the luxury of being emotional because then we're looked at being manipulative, or there's a lot of like connotation to being an emotional woman. Oh, it's your period. Oh, it's your hormones. Oh, it's because you just had a baby. It's not because you're actually feeling something. There's an excuse for it. And so instead of actually finding out why I'm sad, why I'm upset, it's suck it up because it's this. It's so black and white when really there's so many pieces to it.
Thank you, Jess. Yes, I wrote down personality, characteristics of personality, right? Because you're right. Some people are more cognitive, more mental, more kind of stoic, and some others are more sensitive, more sensible, more empathetic, more in tune with their emotions. Some people have big hands, some other people have bigger feet, and some other people have like black eyes, blue eyes, right? It's like so much variety. So it also depends on personality and personal characteristics, how much emotions we have and how much we have to put out them, because it's not good to stay with that energy trapped inside, whatever emotion it is. Uh, Michelle, any opinions about, okay, why don't we express a real emotion sometimes, or why sometimes we express more or less? What are the factors that makes us um,
Yeah, I
express?
think it's just, I agree with everything that's being said. I think it's family and society and what's passed down through the generations. And, you know, all of our families, each generation went through what they went through. And so it trickles down and we carry all that with us. And I feel like what Shantae said, like when you're the person who's looking at your kids and doing something different than what the family has done traditionally, the family has a lot to say about that. And so you're in this place of I'm making a change, but they're feeling a lot of resistance to it because, well, what, I wasn't good enough mother? Obviously, I'm not a good mother. Like that's what my mom would say, or, you know, so you're in that place of I'm just trying to be a little bit different. I'm just trying to raise my kids to be kind or whatever it is, you know, and but you feel, I mean, I feel judged or criticized. And so that's like that's inside of me. And then there's this me trying to be this mom that I want to be. And so, yeah, there's just, it all gets kind of tangled up together. And like Jess said, all of the stuff society will say, well, yeah, it's your period or it's whatever it is. And it's because we don't let those emotions out. I didn't know how to name my emotions before. Like, and I'm 54 years old, so took me a long time to figure this out because I was told you're okay. So for me, if I was sad or scared, you're okay, and I'm like, okay, well, so I don't know what this, you know, so I never learned about them. So I feel like that's a huge thing.
It is, and so important. I I think I would add one more factor around expressing emotions and uh, having them. Think, I think there is a connection between spirituality and emotional networks too. There are many examples that come to mind, but I'll give you one. For example, my dad was working with me at the land. He was working very hard and he has 3 stents in his heart. And all of a sudden, oh, he wanted to do something else, even more strenuous. And I'm like, no, Dad, you cannot do that. And he was like arguing me and like taking the tool and trying to do it. And something like overtook me. And I kind of screamed, not only to him, I was far away, but to everyone, I kind of like so loud, and I said, "No one is going to die in my land." So loud, it was like something overtook me, and I'm like, "Oh my God, I must look so crazy." But yeah, I screamed, and I looked at him, and I looked at everyone, and it worked. People got scared, and he stopped. And but it was something kind of a spiritual, like a spiritual message, strong, because he was just exerting himself too much. And I feel that sometimes, uh, I don't know, I just got that sense. I don't know, yes, if you're feeling something, you're very sensitive. Yes, over there, you're a sensitive person, right? When you're doing your Reiki, for example, right? You feel certain emotions, yes, right? In the Reiki set, right? I feel that There could be some connections there.
Yeah, there's times where like I've wanted to stop in the middle of a session because I'm feeling something so strong and I have to remind myself this is their journey. I'm helping them through this journey. I am not the journey, if that makes sense. So like you have to really practice that space in between of like, this is how I'm helping them, but I can't take on what they're going through. And it's taken me some time to learn that. There's been sessions where I've like
Yes.
come home and just cried, but
Yeah.
it's yeah.
Yeah. Yes, and I'm thinking, this is a very interesting topic. Once women, especially women with this condition, were called hysterical, right? We know the history. And just thought I gave you the example. I looked like I was kind of crazy, like screaming, like, no one's gonna die in my life. And right. So we also know, on the other hand, that expressing emotions is healthy. Oh, I wanted to share for everyone that comes across the video. This is neuroscience. This is neuroscience and the limbic system. I think I don't have there is another one that is more complete here. Yeah, let me share another one. This one has more processes. I keep adding processes to our groups of study depending on the science that comes out. This is interesting. I'm just now realizing for the first time. No, this is so interesting that in the limbic system, when we study the processes around emotions, expression is not here. So I don't know if it's a mistake but I always talk about emotional expression, but I don't know if science has made a link between dysfunction and not expressing emotions, or if science hasn't picked that up yet. I don't know, I'll double check. But yeah, we need to be aware of our emotions. We need to interpret them. We need to retrieve them. We need to reflect on them. We need to process them, regulate, integrate them. We also need to express. I don't know why that's not here. I'm going to look into that, but we also need to express them. Since we are creating a new culture of healthy emotional expression, and we don't want the confusion again of us being accused of being hysterical or too emotional or this and that, then what do we do with that part of emotional expression? Do we do it? Are we doing it already well enough? Are we still pushing it down? Is it okay to push it down a little bit? Like, how do we do it? Like, what should be the new culture around emotional expression? Should we like let it out all the time, whatever we feel? And right, like, how do we do it? If we want to be at the forefront of teaching. Anyone feel insights? How do we do it? For the new generations, what is healthy emotional expression? How does it look like?
For me, what you're saying makes me feel fear if I express myself fully. And like when I was having seizures in the very beginning and I had no idea what was happening, I feel like I could have easily gotten sent to, to the mental facility because I couldn't really talk either. And I just looked like a hot mess, and I couldn't express myself verbally. So the fear comes up of if I really show this emotion, what's going to happen to me? And I feel like that's like where I need to start.
Identifying what are some of the barriers to
Yeah.
answer the question, how do I express them? Well, first, there is a barrier there established by society, which is, well, there is some fear of expressing. Okay, let's look at this fear, recognize the origin, talk to it, mind and emotions conversation, and the physical body in the middle, until uh, that barrier it's studied, negotiated, and we can go past it, right? So that's a good first step, identifying what's in the way of the expression. Excellent, Michelle. Thank you so much. Anyone else? Ante?
I think to a degree, as long as it's healthy, being unapologetically yourself, like, using your words in kind ways, but still being able to be firm and fortified in whatever it is that you need, and I understand it is uncomfortable and difficult, especially if that's not the culture you come from or, the way you were raised. But, I don't know, some of it's got to do with the premenopause or what, but I'm at a place where it's just like, if it's not acceptable, it's not acceptable. And I worry less about hurting other people's feelings in the sense that if they can't politely respect my boundary, well, then it makes me think about who they are as a human. And it's not my problem, it's yours if you can't accept that I need 5 minutes, I'm sad, or I need to be able to practice the pause and use the discernment. You don't have to rage. And if that's where they're pulling you or they're pulling you to get that upset, well, then they're really not your people. And in professional, just a beat, no, sir, no, no, thank you.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much. I wrote down some things. So I know this is something, right? We're creating a new culture. We're deciding together. This is going to be a process over generations to come. But what I gather is that the emotional expression for us, intelligent, compassionate, cognitive human beings, especially women, will be unapologetic in terms of be real, but use your words wisely. Right speech is one of the, the, the guidelines, let's say, of Buddhism. Yeah, say what you must say. Write a speech, right? Use them wisely. I really like what you said, take time, right? If you're feeling the emotion, like what we do here, right? Like, okay, hold on a second. Let me take some time and mind emotional connection, see what's coming up. Feel the energy, maybe move it around, accommodate it, appraise it, so kind of study it, interpret it, and then I put it into words and I say it wisely. So take me some time. Hey, give me a moment. There is an emotion coming up right now. And sometimes you don't even have to ask for a moment. You can just say, okay, or just stand up and go get a glass of water. As the conversation is happening, you can get up, go get a glass of water, or I'll be back, I'm gonna go to the bathroom, right? Like you don't need to say like, I need some time. No, I'll be back, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. Hold on a second, let me get a fruit or a glass of water, and then you're ready. You go slowly, and then you're like, oh my God, I'm feeling something. What is this? Is it sadness or is it angry? And what do I say? Oh, right. Then the other thing that I have been practicing myself. Oh, no, I want to hear yes first. Yes. Anything else around how do we create this new culture of emotional expression? What is the best we can do and we can teach around emotional expression?
Well, for me personally, I'm not great at like, especially around my kids and stuff with a lot of emotion because it stresses my daughter out, especially. So a lot of times what I'll tell myself is like, put this on the back burner. And when you have 10 minutes, go sit out in your garden and feel it, journal, meditate, release that way. And that tends to help me. So, but I recognize it and I will state to my body, like, we're going to deal with this, but I need to be in private to deal with this because I don't as sensitive as my daughter is, she's very sensitive like me, so she tries to take on my emotions and I try really hard not to. I don't want her to do that. I want her to just have her emotions, not mom's and hers. So there's balance there, right? But I always remind myself, like, we will deal with this. This isn't getting put and stored and stuck. We're going to deal with this. Just give me a minute to get to where I need to go to feel safe to release it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So doing the work later. Now life is so busy. We just have to make sure we don't forget, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
it may stay in the back burner and then we may not get to it, and then it may just then get stored in the Pandora box, and then the Pandora box starts getting too full. So that's
Yeah.
something that we have to keep in mind. And then it's kind of that also the hide and seek that sometimes emotions do. Like we feel them now, but then later they disappear. It's like, hey, I saw you before, yeah, but I'm no longer there. Right? Like we have to be. But in in my experience, what I have noticed practicing these things on myself is if we take just a little moment and feel it and acknowledge it to ourselves, like what you're doing, yes, like, okay, I feel you, I hear you, emotion, I sense you, I know that you're there. That's already good because you're already doing the appraising, the recognition, the awareness. Like the energy already gets dissipated through your conscious awareness, recognizing it and observing it. So that step right there is very, very good. And then the other thing that came to mind as a possibility on how do we express them, staying healthy and being a model on this, a role model on this topic, is the analogy of the pressure cooker. A little bit, see how much people tolerate, because people are not used to receiving others' emotions. So give them a little bit and observe so you feel good, and then you're teaching them. And then, right, and then we're also practicing regulation. Feel the energy, let it rise, express a little bit, and then breathe or take a break, and then push it down, and then again, like a pressure cooker. That came to my mind as a possibility also. And remember, we are all different. So it may be more of one formula for one person, less for another person, and so on. I think this has been a nice conversation. Unexpected, right? Unexpected. Unexpected. The magic of functional health and the magic of community. Okay, in the last 3 minutes, anything else before closing? Anything else that you want to put out there in the world for those people who come and watch the video? Any final messages, Shante? You're muted. Mhm.
If you're bad at meditation, pick up a hobby. Whether, like Jess said, going out in your garden, love my plants. More recently, I decided to make a pocketbook, making little sunflower retro, find something because not everybody's brain moves that way, but simple repetitive acts are beautiful at the end.
Hobbies are wonderful. Less TV and more hobbies. This is what I'm noticing with the FND population, that
Mm.
once they move away from the usual, right? Because TV became cultural. Oh, let's watch TV, whatever happens, or video games. So less of that kind of technology and more of creative, traditional hobbies is working great. Thank you for the reminder, Shante. Michelle, yes, any final words for the community?
I mean, I think that's what we're trying to do with the land and inviting people to the land to, be creative and find out what things make you happy when you do them. And I feel like that's super important. I don't even have a TV because it hurts to watch TV at this point. So finding ways that just, other things you can do to
Yes,
express
come.
yourself. Hmm.
Yes, come to the land, hang out with
Yes.
us in August. Thank you, Michelle. Yes, any final words?
Not really. I just been enjoying listening, and I think that there's a lot of good suggestions that came out of this, and I think it can help others here, you know. This is a tough topic through this one, but good. Like,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. Thank you, Jess. Yes, we're inviting people to come and join our community conversations. We're going to try to have more of these once a week. We have many topics starting soon. So, yes, the power of community. Come play with us, come learn with us, come build the new society with us. Thank you so very much. It's such a pleasure always to be with you. You're my people. You make me feel so meaningful to have you. Thank you so much. Enjoy your weekend. Feel how special you are and keep me posted. We're connected on WhatsApp. Talk soon. Bye bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.